We continue now at the top of Daf Ayin Beis Amud Aleph Meseches Shabbos. This is Shabbos Daf 72a. The Gemara here is discussing the halachas of Asham Talui. Now, normally when a person does an aveira, which is chayav a carbon chatas, so if the person is not sure whether they did that aveira, they bring what's called an Asham Talui, and then if they find out later they did the aveira, they bring a carbon chatas. So the Gemara here is within the opinion of Rabbi Tarfon. What if a person does an aveira that's chayav in Asham, but again, he's not sure if he did the Avera that's Chayiv the Asham. So in this case, does he bring an Asham Talui, and then if he finds out he did the Avera, he brings a regular Asham? Or no, since essentially it's the same basic carbon, an Asham Talui and an Asham are the same basic carbon, you can bring it on a condition. And you say, if I did the Avera, then this will be a regular carbon Asham. And if not, then this is just an Asham Talui, and I'm not going to have to bring a carbon. So the Gemara says, that's very Tarfon's opinion, is you could just do it on condition. In other words, the way the Gemara understands that is you don't need a Yediyah to bring a carbon Asham. You can bring a carbon Asham on a condition. You could say, if I did the Avera, this is a carbon Asham, otherwise it's just an Asham Talui. So the Gemara asks, within that opinion that you don't need a Yediyah to bring a carbon Asham, so Baal Chamesh Be'ilos B'Shifcha Charufa. Let's say a person has relations 5 times with a Shifcha Charufa. A Shifcha Charufa is, again, it's a Shifcha that's essentially, there's no real marriage by a Shifcha. She's married to an Avid Ivri, but it doesn't have the same halachic status of marriage as a normal marriage. So the halacha is, in such a case, you bring a carbon Asham. So the question is, what if a person does this Aveira 5 times? Rashi here explains. Baal He Be'ilos B'Shifcha Charufa B'Shogeg. The person finds out between every son, so there's a yediyah between each avera. Eino chayav el achas. That yediyah is not going to do anything, because just like Rabbi Tarfon says, the yediyah is not relevant in a situation where you don't know if you did the avera, and you say you could just bring the carbon on it tonight, you don't need a yediyah. So too over here, the yediyah becomes irrelevant, and even if you had a yediyah in between, you're still going to bring only one carbon asham. And Rashi just explains, why are we picking this? There's other ways of having a carbon asham. Mishum de maybe carbon echad al averes harbe, because shivcha charufa is a case where you could bring one carbon on many averes. Kiretanan bekrisis heimivian carbon echad al averes harbe habo al hashivcha bias harbe v'chul. It's a mishnah. V'chein tanan masnis nifter b'carbon echad hani mili b'mezid. Now that's true. When do you bring one carbon for many averes? If you do b'mezid. Because this is one of the cases where you actually bring a carbon on mezid, whether it's mezid or shogeg. It doesn't matter. There's no malchus b'shogeg. It's that we learn over there that you're going to bring one carbon if you do it mezid many times. Certainly if you do a bunch of shogegs in one helam, you're going to bring one. Avol, the question is, in this case, avol shogeg v'nodelo bein bia lebia. That's the question. What if he does it b'shogeg with yediyah in between? Laman debo yediyah b'tchila b'asham v'aday chashav u'lechalek la'ashama. So he says, according to the one who says, according to Rabbi Akiva, not Rabbi Tarfon, according to Rabbi Akiva, that you need a yediyah to bring a carbon asham. Let's say you wouldn't know whether or not you did the avera, you don't bring out on a condition, you just bring out an asham talui, and you'll later have to bring another carbon asham if you find out. According to that opinion, the idea is going to be mechalik. Ka'avoras kapora mechalek as los amazing. Just like, for example, let's say a would have beer with a shifcha charuf on purpose and bring a carbon and then do it again, he'd have to bring a second carbon. There's certainly certain things that can be mechalik. But you're going to need to bring on every single one. I'll leave it to Rabbi Yochanan Damarlel Bochel Shnei Zeh Sechel Behelam Echad V'Noda Lo B'Shtei Yediyas Shemevi Chatas Al Kol Achas V'Achas Techashiv Lechilak Yediyah Ki'ilu Heavy Carbon Ben Yediyah LeYediyah. So according to Rabbi Yochanan's opinion, we saw before that Yediyah, when Yediyah is relevant, Yediyah can be mechalik, and you bring a separate carbonas. Hachanami chashav chilak Yediyah kilo heavy carbon ben bia lebia. So to over here, Yediyah would be relevant. V'ashmi'in an ula delaman deloba Yediyah ba'asham betchila. So what's the chiddush of ula? Ula is telling you that according to Rabbi Tarfon, that you don't need a Yediyah in general to bring a carbon asham. Eina chashav v'lechalik ben saim. Even within the sheet of Rabbi Yochanan, that's not considered chashav to be mechalik. Ve'eno chayv la'achas tekevin delo chashiv leYediyah lo mechalekas. Since according to Rabbi Tarfon, Yediyah is not important when it comes to a carbon asham, so therefore it's not considered important enough to be mechalik. The whole reason we're bringing this in is because we're about to ask later on in the Gemara from the general machlokas, Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish, about Yediyah, whether it's mechalik or not. So the Gemara now says, this is the point of Ula, is that you only bring one carbon according to Rabbi Tarfon because Yediyah is not important. So Maskevla Rav Hamnuna, so Rav Hamnuna asks, Elamat, according to that, Baal v'chazer above hivrish carbon, v'yamar hamtinu li ad she'evol, hachin amidenu chayv al-achas. What about if you actually bring a carbon? We really just mentioned this in Rashi. Are you going to go that far that if you bring a carbon that you don't have to bring another carbon? So he said to him, you're talking about if you actually were mafresh a carbon for your, you didn't necessarily bring the carbon, but you were mafresh a carbon for the first Aveira, that's for sure mechalik. Certainly if a person did a hafrasha of a carbon, and then he did another Aveira, certainly that would be mechalik, he'd have to bring a second carbon. When Rav Dimi came, he said, so he said that according to the one who says that Asham does need Yediyah, meaning according to Rabbi Akiva, according to the other Shita, if a person has 5 Be'ilas with a Shivcha Charufa, with a Yediyah in between, he is going to have to bring a carbon on every one. So Amar Le Abai said, 1 second, we know a carbon chatas requires Yediyah. We just had a machlokas before whether Yediyah is mechalik, Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish, just like Rashi mentioned. It's only true according to Rabbi Yochanan that the Yediyah can be mechalik. So why is Rav Dimi so sure that a Yediyah would work according to Rabbi Akiva, that Asham in general requires Yediyah? Fine, so Yediyah is important. But we saw even by carbon chatas, where for sure Yediyah is important, there's a machlokas Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish. So Ishtik, he was quiet. So I said back to him, maybe you meant after Hafrasha, that Hafrasha is mechalik, like Rav Hamnuna said, and he said, yeah, in fact, that is in fact what I meant, and of course, in regards to Yediyah, it's going to be a machlokas Rabbi Yochanan Reish Lakish, and again, that's really already what Rashi mentioned as well. Kiyasa Ravin Amar, when Ravin came, he said, Hakal mod m'shivcha charufa, v'hakal mod m'shivcha charufa, u'machlokas b'shivcha charufa. He said, there's a case where everyone admits by shivcha charufa, there's another case where everyone admits by shivcha charufa, and there's a case where it's a machlokas. And now the Gemara explains. Hakal mod m'shivcha charufa de'eino chayv al'achas kedu'ula. Ula's original statement that according to Rabbi Tarfon, it's considered halam echad, Yediyah is not chashuv and it's not mechalik, and you can bring one carbon. That's like Ula said. And of course, everybody admits that you are chayiv on every single carbon. If you follow Rav Hamnuna, where you did an actual hafrasha, and then you did a second aveira, you're going to have to bring a second carbon. And when is there a machlokas? According to the Man Amar, who says that a carbon asham needs yediyah, machlokas to Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Shimon Lakish. Meaning, according to Rabbi Akiva, there's going to be a machlokas Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish whether yediyah is machalik. Because again, according to Rabbi Akiva, in general, you need a yediyah to bring a carbon asham. So the question is yediyah going to be machalik or not? The Gemara now says itmar, it was learned, and we will continue that discussion on Daf Ayin Beis Amud Beis in the next video.